Hey guys, welcome back to Over the Surface. We are officially on episode 11. Woo! I will say, I'm already putting this out there. Next week, there will not be an episode, but only because there will be something that will be posted instead of that. It won't be on Thursday, it will be on Wednesday. So something else will be posted on this channel next week, and that's all I'm going to say. And I'm really excited and I'm really nervous, and I can't believe I'm finally going to be able to post about this, because I will say, and I'm going to talk about it more on the following episode when I actually can talk about it, but I have been working on this project for it's been like about 2 years of working on it. So it's just so surreal. I'm so excited. Also, this drink I have a bubbly, like Waterloo, like a lime Waterloo, and it's sizzling and bubbling, and I don't even want to touch it because I feel like if I stir it back up, it's going to start sizzling again, and it's actually making my left ear ring. Like, I don't want to hear it because I think I'm being really self-conscious about it and then thinking about the mic. Anyways. So yeah, so next week, no OTS, but something better will be posted. Also, I just want to say, this week, already a great week. You want to know why? Because I went to the gym twice. When I tell you, I have not been motivated whatsoever to gym. I think maybe Europe. I got back from Europe, and let me tell you, working out again has been a mission and a half for me. So I have not been in the gym, but I did go to a Pilates class like 3 days ago, and then I went to hot yoga sculpt class last night. Or not last night, just yesterday. And I don't know, I feel like being in the classes motivated me a little more because I was in a group setting with more people. I think mentally what's challenging me right now is being at the gym by myself and kind of holding myself accountable. So if I sign up for these classes, right, I'm paying for them and I have to go, or else I will lose the class, or you know what I mean? So I have written down some things I want to talk about with you guys, before we jump into anything. Oh, this is another thing I want to talk about on this podcast. Well, because I posted on my YouTube, so I guess YouTube channel too. How do we feel about me vlogging again? Because, well, I know how you guys feel because I see the comments. People want me to vlog. But I was thinking, what if I flip-flopped with the podcast and vlogging? Maybe not upload every week with the podcast and alternate and vlog half of the month and then podcast half of the month, or vlog majority of the month and podcast once a month, because I want to keep the podcast. I love the podcast. I love sitting here and talking about, certain topics and kind of reflecting on certain things about my life, about other things. And I love it. So the podcast is definitely staying. I just think that a part of me does want to tap into vlogging again. I don't know, because I know so many of you guys love watching my life and watching me carry the camera around and stuff. And obviously, I feel like I've been very notorious, and I've been, someone that burns out really easily when vlogging. So I think I just want to try to find a middle ground, or find something where I feel comfortable enough to vlog, or like vlog once a month and then podcast the rest of the month. I don't know. I want to figure it out. I want to figure out the vlogging situation because I feel like I do want to do it. I just don't know how. But tell me, do you guys want to see vlogs? Because I can do, like every other week is a vlog, and then every other week is a podcast episode, and kind of be able to spread them out a little bit. So yeah, let me know about that because I'm quite curious what y'all have to say about that. Oh, also, I am still reading Normal People. I remember I mentioned it in the last episode. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had to burp so bad. Ew, I'm disgusting. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, Normal People. I'm still reading it. And if you haven't read it, it's just crazy, like the feelings you get when you reread something. You kind of know what's going to happen, but because it's been so long, you don't really remember. You just get all jittery about it. I just want to say my one takeaway. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't read it or who want to read it. 10 out of 10 recommend. One of my favorite books I've ever read. I read this in 2020 and I'm rereading it again. But anyways, what I was going to say was, as I'm rereading it, and just like the biggest takeaway, which I feel like I did take away this message 4 years ago, but I don't know, maybe it stood out to me a lot more now because I feel like I've experienced it more. Do not be someone's second choice. Do not, ever change for anyone. Don't ever, if someone is trying to change you or steer you in a direction that you don't want to go or you don't want to be treated, just push back. I don't know. That's like the biggest thing I've taken so far from the book is just don't ever be someone's second choice. Don't ever let someone hide you. Don't ever let someone make you feel less than them, because it's not worth it. And I think you just have to really obviously really avoid those situations because you truly will feel like shit and you will truly feel like you're kind of not worth anything, which is really sad. I don't know, but that's kind of like the biggest takeaway I've taken so far from the book. I'm seeing if I wrote anything else. Yeah, and then I guess the last thing I wrote was it's never worth it, whether that's in a friendship or relationship, trying to change who you are for them, or if they're trying to change you, or if they're trying to hide you, or they feel embarrassed by you or something, you're going to start resenting that person regardless. And that resentment will be instilled in you until it's confronted or you confront it with them or yourself and you let it go. But other than that, that will always be there. And that true, genuine friendship or relationship that you could have with that person will never exist. So definitely just take that for what it is. I hope no one's in that situation who's watching this, but if they are, either talk to them or walk away. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. It's not worth being in a situation like that. So for my poem / blurb, quote, passage, whatever you want to call it, of the week, I was reading this poetry book. It is Love is a Dog from Hell by Charles Bukowski. I really love Charles Bukowski. I really like how he writes. I love his writing. And this whole book is this crazy love story, poems, this crazy poetry love story of him with different women and kind of how he perceives them in his life. I mean, it's so cool. It's just such a cool way of viewing things. I mean, he's a little vulgar and kind of intense, but I don't know, I kind of like it. Let me see if I can, did I not? Hold on one second. So it's a little bit of a longer poem, but this really stuck to me as I was reading through this poetry book the other day, and just a thought popped in my head that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So it's called How to Be a Great Writer. You've got to fuck a great... Like I said, he's very vulgar, so bear with me on this one. You've got to fuck a great many women, beautiful women, and write a few decent love poems. And don't worry about age or freshly arrived talents. Just drink more beer, more and more beer, and attend the racetrack at least once a week, and win if possible. Learning to win is hard. Any slob can be a good loser. And don't forget your brams, and your batch, and your beer. Don't overexercise. Sleep until noon. Avoid credit cards or paying for anything on time. Remember that there isn't a piece of ass in this world worth over $50 in 1977. And if you have the ability to love yourself first, but always be aware of the possibility of total defeat, whether the reason for that defeat seems right or wrong. An early taste of death is not necessarily a bad thing. Stay out of churches and bars and museums, and like the spider, be patient. Time is everybody's cross, plus exile, defeat, treachery. All that dross, stay with the beer. Beer is continuous blood, a continuous lover. Get a large typewriter, and as the footsteps go up and down outside your window, hit that thing, hit it hard. Make it a heavyweight fight. Make it the bull when he first charges in. And remember the old dogs who fought so well. Hemingway, Celine, Dostoevsky, Hamsun. If you think they didn't go crazy in tiny rooms just like you're doing now, without women, without food, without hope, then you're not ready. Drink more beer, there's time, and if there's not, that's all right too. Sorry, I know it was kind of long, but I just really think it's crazy because I haven't really thought about this in a little bit, which I feel like it crosses my mind a good amount of times, but I don't know. I don't think I've ever talked to you guys about it. Or maybe I have. I don't remember. I just feel like it's so crazy when it comes to writing, because that's what the title of the thing was, How to Be a Great Writer, something like that. It's really putting yourself through hardship and putting yourself through just a little bit of misery and pain. I mean, he even says, like, it's okay to come close to death. I don't know. There's something about all of that can make you a good writer. I don't know whether that's just like the trauma or the passion or whatever you feel. It's just you have to exert it onto something, so it's just easier to write it out because there might not be someone to talk to about it. But when I've found when I'm happy or when I'm enjoying my life, writing about it isn't as necessary. I don't really feel inspired to write. I don't know if maybe it's because I'm used to writing about sad stuff, but it is interesting how most writers, musicians, anyone who, is in that world, find that being miserable brings more art out of it. And it's kind of the truth. It's such an interesting thing to think about because I've even heard, being out here, of artists that put themselves in horrible state of minds to be able to write good music. And it's horrible, but it's the truth because I've experienced it. And I think that's why I've leewayed into wanting to write stories, because I think writing stories, and by no means, I want to say this too, as a writer, I am not someone that is, I will say I did pretty well in English in high school and all that stuff, but I did not go to college for English. I don't have a degree in writing or anything of that sort. But I love storytelling, and I feel like I'm good at it. I feel like I'm good at making people feel a certain way. And obviously I'm still developing my skill, and I want to continue writing. I love it so much. I feel like you don't have to have any sort of degree in it to love it, you know what I mean, and to pursue it and to continue growing in it. But yeah, I think that's why I've steered to stories, because it's a way to make up, what other people are feeling or how you're feeling or how you would want to feel, or you can just pretend to be sad or pretend this dramatic thing happened, because when your life is kind of still and settled, it's like, what do you write about? You can write about it, but there's not a lot to write about. I don't know. Sorry, my brain is going a million directions right now. I was going to say 1,000,000 miles per hour, but that's, I guess, also true. Anyways, I read that, and I thought it was just really interesting how a lot of writers, and him even giving that advice, like, get drunk, basically, like, kind of live your life on the edge, have sex with girls. I'm like, bro, a little gnarly, but I don't know. I guess it's true, huh? The last thing I actually wanted to talk about before jumping into my question, which I totally should have answered or should have mentioned prior, but when I was talking about, I guess, vlogging again and all that stuff and, social media. So I came across a comment on my, I forgot what it was. I don't know where I saw it, but I saw it on something and it stuck with me. It was a mean comment, I guess, or a bad comment, but there was a lot of truth behind it. And I think that's why it stuck with me a lot. Because normally when there's a bad comment or a mean comment and it's like bullshit or like doesn't make any sense, I blow over it. I don't even think about it. But this one stuck to me. And the comment said something along the lines of, she is notorious, or she doesn't stick to anything. She's not consistent with anything. She never sticks to anything. And it's true. It is very true. I do not stick to certain things or certain hobbies or certain passions in my life. And I am very quickly to kind of give up on them. And when I read that, and they kind of said it in like a mean way. It wasn't like a nice way. It was a mean way. But like I said, there was truth behind it because I recognized that. But I guess, I don't know. You just think people don't recognize those things. You only do. But then when I saw that comment, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I mean, they're right. And it really made me reflect on it a lot. It made me think, okay, why do I give up on things so easily? Why do I feel I can't keep pursuing something? And the only thing that I have found that makes sense with all of this is when I was younger, and I'm not even saying this like to toot my own horn or to like be annoying. When I was younger, I felt like I was good at a lot of things. Not excellent, not incredible, not fantastic, just good. I feel like I was good or really good at a lot of things growing up. I was good at sports, but I was never the best player. You know, I was good at makeup, but I wasn't incredible. I wasn't incredible at makeup. People liked how I dressed, but I wasn't the best fashion girl. Like, there was so many, there's so many examples, but I can't really think of any. And I feel like all my life, I always was on the edge of feeling like I was almost like fantastic or like incredible at something, and I never got there. And I felt like I searched that a lot all my life. And I don't know where it came from. I have no idea. I don't know if that comes from maybe feeling like because I'm an only child and like I want to really impress my parents or the people around me, and I felt like I had to because there was no one else to do it, and how am I going to be the shitty kid that isn't really amazing at something? I played guitar, but I was never incredible at guitar. I was good at guitar, but I was never amazing. I could sing, but I'm not the best singer in the fucking... Like, it just was a really weird thing to think about. So, yeah, that was one reflection I had this week that I wanted to really talk about on here, because it's true. I don't stick to things. And when I see some sort of failure in it, or when I see not it doing as well as I want it to, I get fearful because I am like, okay, wait, no, I need to go and try the next thing that I can be amazing at. And I think that's just a good reminder that I don't think anyone is the most amazing person at something. Obviously, I'm sure there is, right? But at the end of the day, everyone has flaws. Nobody's perfect, and we are always going to be our own hardest critic. Sorry, couldn't get that. So I think this podcast is a big example of that, because I am passionate about it and I want people to enjoy it, and I'm just doing it because I want to not feel like I have to be amazing at having the #1 podcast in the world, and I would rather just do it to feel good about myself or to do something that I genuinely am passionate about. And that's like with vlogging, right? You know, I vlog or I spend all this time making these videos and then I don't see it does as well, or people like this type of content instead of this. And I guess I get frustrated and then I stop. So basically, I'm going to try my best to get better at that, but I'm notorious for it and it sucks. I think it's definitely a challenge for me, for an individual challenge, but we're going to get there. We are going to get there. All right, guys, it is time to enter the main event. We are going to get into the question. I have talked for far too long at this point. I should be arrested for it. Okay, here we go. My brain is all nice and warmed up from talking that much, huh? The accent wasn't too bad. I'm gonna say. Okay. Here we go. A thick one, a thick boy. God. Okay, here we go. When you're feeling all over the place with your life, how do you get out of it? How do you find the purpose of your life? Wow. Kind of made me sad. Like reading that last part. How do you find the purpose of your life? My brain is blanking. Well, first of all, when I'm feeling all over the place with my life and to get out of it, and when I'm feeling too overwhelmed, I need to stop. I need to stop and truly think about everything going on in my life. What is causing me to feel overwhelmed? What is causing me to feel the way I'm feeling? What can I do to start easing that overwhelming feeling? Because, for instance, right, if I am overwhelmed because, I don't know, I'm going to make some stuff up. Let's say I started vlogging at the same time as doing a podcast, and I also had another job and doing this and doing that. Actually, I do have the perfect example. When I was living with the boys in 2017, when I moved into that house, I was waitressing, I was doing YouTube, I was editing on my own, I was doing a million jobs. I did everything I could to survive. But that's when I was doing YouTube, and I was, like I said, filming it all on my own, editing. I was doing it just getting by. I was so stressed out all the time, basically. And I remember going to my friend Bobby and was like, Bobby, I literally don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm going insane right now. I can't keep doing this. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. It's so stressful trying to keep up with this. And I started to feel burnt out after a couple of months. And I remember we sat there and we kind of overlooked everything going on in my life. And that's another thing. Having friends that will help you through those things are really important. FYI. Or yeah, FYI, is that mean to say? Like, for your information? Just having friends that will help you through it is incredible. And I've said this before, don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Anyways, we looked over everything going on in my life. He was saying, okay, you have this going on. Can you quit doing this? Can you just start doing more YouTube to compensate for this? Can you do that? Are you know? So I finally decided, okay, I'm just going to upload twice a week on YouTube, and I'm going to quit my waitressing job. And that's when I quit. So I really had to look overall what was going on in my life to be able to make that decision. And you have to sit there and really plan it out. Obviously, don't make a rash decision. Don't do something that might flip your world upside down, because I am very much that person. I have a thought and I go for it, but sit on it, sleep on it too. If there's something that you feel like needs to change that you can't do anymore because it's causing you all this stress or overwhelming feeling, sleep on it for a little bit too. Don't make that decision right away, and be patient with yourself in these situations of feeling upset and not knowing what's going on with your life, because I think the biggest reminder in all of that is a lot, if anything, every single person is still trying to figure it out. They just cope with it or handle it differently. A quote that I remember reading or hearing, I forgot where, but it was in a video of some sort, long time ago. And someone said, whether you're drowning underwater 10 feet above the surface and someone else was drowning 100 feet under the surface, it doesn't matter how far deep you are, you guys are both still drowning. So don't ever discredit, or don't ever be like, oh, my problems aren't that serious, or I don't have it as bad as that. Because yes, that's true. It's always good to remind yourself you are blessed, you're grateful for what you have, and it could be worse because of this. But don't ever think, oh, my problems aren't important. Even though you aren't drowning as far down as the other person is, you still have problems that you have to work through. And that's so important. That is so unbelievably important to recognize. I think when it comes to finding the purpose in your life, because for me, it took a long time. I still don't even think I found my full purpose, because I still have so much life to live. And I've said this in a previous episode, I feel like my true purpose is to be a mom. But I guess that is, I don't know, I feel like that's not what the question's asking. I think it's more so like finding your true purpose in the sense of like career is kind of what I'm getting from this. I have changed my purpose many times, and I think it's okay to. I think we're constantly evolving and we're constantly growing as human beings. And I think our desires, our dreams, our purposes are going to change with them, right? My purpose in life was very different 10 years ago versus now. 10 years ago, I was 17. So my purpose in life in the last 10 years could have been more of, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of an example, but whatever you felt purpose in that moment is what your purpose is. And now at 27, now that I've lived a lot more life, that purpose has changed because I have a different perspective on how things work now. And maybe back then I valued more materialistic things, which I feel like the younger generation tends to do, just from my experience, or maybe my generation at that time cherished more materialistic things. And now for me, it's more not materialistic, but things like time with people, quality time, doing services for your community, for your friends. Those things mean a lot for me. Like, I love cooking for my friends. I'm not saying that's my purpose, but you know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. I think my purpose in life right now, honestly, don't have an exact answer, but I really do think it's to impact people's lives. And I've felt this for the last couple of years. I just want to do something that, or say something, or do something, say something, whatever, and someone can take away from it, whether that's one person, whether that's 1,000 people, 100, 10,000, whatever that number may be. I just want one person to watch me or see me or listen to me and say, wow, that's going to change my life for good. And they can take it and walk away with it. That's really all I want right now in my life. Like I said, that could change in 30 years, 40 years, or another 10 years from now. Who knows? I hope that purpose still is very heavy on my heart. I think that's why I love writing. That's why, like I said, I've steered more towards storytelling, because I liked the idea of being able to share stories that kind of are influenced from my upbringing or have been influenced from my life, and can portray it in a way that people can take. I'm being seen, I'm being heard. And I think that's like a really big thing with poetry for me, which I took away from and is why I want to do it, is when I read poetry, I feel heard, I feel seen. When I read, authors that I love and know that, wow, they went through that too, and I'm not alone, especially going through breakups or loss or grief. Being able to know you're not alone in those situations is so unbelievably important to realize, because in those moments, it's so easy to feel so alone. So I think I just want, through my writing, through my poetry, I want someone to read it and realize, wow, I'm not alone. And Franny knows exactly how I'm feeling. And I am being seen, and I am being understood. I don't feel like I'm drowning under 10 feet of water, or I'm drowning under 100 feet of water. It feels a little lighter. Because I will say, when you are drowning, you are able to get up to the surface a little more when you understand you're not alone. I think it really helps you have that courage to keep swimming forward. It keeps you wanting to better yourself. It keeps you wanting to know that it's possible to get out of it. I think that's something that I'm always talking about, or I am always saying, is someone could be dealing with what you're dealing with, and they got out of it. They feel much better. Whether that's going through a breakup or, like I said, grief or loss, they got out of it. They figured it out. And whether that feeling is instilled in you, you just learn how to deal with it, I guess. Like for me, I think now when it comes to grief or loss, it's just being comfortable when the feeling comes, or feeling comfortable when the thought passes about that. And you just think about it and you let it go. And it could be for a brief moment. It could be for an hour. But whatever that feeling is, you're able to just handle it a lot better. So anyway, sorry, I completely went a different direction with purpose. But I hope that all makes sense in the world of purpose. I think my biggest advice too, when it comes to stuff like that, when you are incredibly lost and you have actually no idea what fulfills you or what you want to strive for in life or career, whatever that may be, sit with yourself and write stuff down. Whether that's write things that you love to do, start writing things that make you happy, start just writing. It doesn't have to be a list, just write. Write about the good things that happened in your day, write about the happy things, anything that gave you some sort of fire in your heart, write it down. Because you might write something down and get an idea of, wow, I realized I've written this down so many times. I love doing this one thing. Whether that's, I don't know, let's say you're writing a lot in your journal. You're like, oh, I worked out today and it made me feel incredible. I worked out today and I loved being outside and I loved how that made me feel. And that's like the one thing that you're always writing that makes you feel incredible. I don't know. Maybe there's a world where you pursue personal training or you pursue something in the fitness world that requires you to be outdoors and start discovering that passion a little more, or kind of figuring out, okay, how can I turn this into a reality? And the thing is too, when you're searching for your purpose, when you're searching for your dream or your goals or whatever, it's not going to happen overnight. Oh my goodness. It could take a year, 5, 10. And I've had to tell myself that. That is the reason why I give up a lot, because I get agitated, I am not patient, and I don't want to wait for something good to happen. I want it now. That's a horrible mentality to have. You really need to be patient with the journey that you're going to put yourself through in that. Because people spend decades upon decades pursuing their dreams and their goals and figuring out what they want to do. And sometimes it doesn't happen till they're 40, 50 years old. And you want to know what? I have seen videos of people that have reached that goal, have found their purpose in their 40s and 50s. And they're so happy they never gave up on it. They're so happy they never settled for less. Yes, it probably feels like, oh my gosh, Franny, what do you mean I have 30 more years till I find my purpose, till I get my goals? And I'm not saying that to scare you, but truthfully, it'll be worth it. And I think also make the journey fun. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't take everything so seriously, because you don't want those 30 years to go by and you're so stressed out. You're like, oh, I didn't even enjoy that. I was so in my head about this and that, and I could have done this better and I could have done this. You're going to fail. That's inevitable. You're going to run into obstacles. Also inevitable. But keep going, but make it fun. You know, balance your life, balance your work life, balance your friends, balance going out, balance the things that you love to do. And because you don't want those 30 years to go by and you feel like you've been searching for that purpose, but it was miserable searching for it, because that's no fun. Because also, when you're having fun and when you're enjoying life, that's when you find your purpose. When you start doing things that make you happy, like I said, it might come sooner. So don't put yourself through so much hardship through the process of it, because that will make it that much harder to do. But yeah, I truly hope my purpose doesn't change. I love my purpose right now. But I hope that if it does change, it's something even better. Like I said, being a mom or whatever that may be for me. But I really like my purpose and I really want to tap into it a lot more. And I want to continue trying to change people's lives with what I do, which I'm so grateful for. The fact that I do have the job that I have and I'm able to do this career from home, and I know I'm so beyond blessed for that. And I also know that there does come a lot of bad with it, with the whole social media thing. But I really, guys, I promise, I really try to look past that and push through that, because obviously I know it could be a lot worse. Trust me, I know. So I really try hard when things get tough doing this. I really don't have a lot to complain about. But I always remind myself, though, like I said, I don't ever discredit like the issues that I am going through when it comes to that stuff. Because even though I am drowning, and I might not be drowning as far down as the other person. I'm still drowning and I still need help. And that's when I ask for help. That's when, like I said, I sit back. If life's becoming too much, if work's becoming too much, and I don't understand why, I do have that privilege where I can step back and take a break if I need to. But I'm constantly mentally thinking of ideas and doing this and doing that, and how can I be better and how can I do this? And that's a big thing with social media. It's everyone wants to be on top, and that's where I always have to snap out of it and say, Franny, you don't need to be on top. You don't need to be the number one influencer or social media person or number one YouTuber in the world, because that's what drove me for a really long time. And I found no purpose in that. I found no happiness in that, no success. And maybe that's another set of advice. Don't ever strive for being number one, which I said earlier. I feel like I'm being redundant because everything's kind of intertwined, if that makes sense. Like the meanings and the things and that's and this and those and who's and what. But yeah, and it's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to not know what you're doing, like I said, but just remember, enjoy the process and take a step back and reevaluate and figure out what you love to do. Because look, we live once. I hate saying it because I sound like annoying, but you really only do live once. And you might as well make the most of it and be as happy as you possibly can be, because I always remind myself of that as well. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I felt like I said a lot of good things, I hope, but they might have been a little ramble-jambled. It's funny, every time I go back to editing this, I'm sitting there with my hands in my face like this, and I'm just can't even believe that I said those things, or why did I repeat myself about 10,000 times, which I always do, because like I said, I don't have anything planned, so my brain is like, you know? Anyways, all right, I love you guys. Don't forget to ask me questions. Leave them down below, because we're filling up this bowl. We got to keep doing it. Let me know about the vlogging. If you guys want to see me start vlogging, I've been thinking about it, been missing it a little bit. So let me know about that. And yeah, next week we will not be here, but it's okay. Fun announcement next week. And we will see each other the following. I love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.